There has been a major and highly provocative statement from Pakistan's newly appointed Chief of Defense Forces, Field Marshal Asim Munir, whose latest remarks have sharply escalated rhetoric against India. We will break down what Munir said, why it matters, how it ties to recent cross-border tensions including Operation Sindoor and the Pahalgam terror attack, and what the Indian government has stated regarding Pakistan's political and military crisis. Stay with us for a comprehensive explanation of this developing story, and ensure that you watch till the end. Pakistan's newly installed Chief of Defense Forces, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has delivered a fresh and unwarranted provocation, asserting in his first address in the new role that India must not be in what he called any delusion, warning that Pakistan's reaction to any perceived aggression would be, in his words, even more swift, severe, and intense. Speaking to officers of all three armed services at a ceremony organized to honor his appointment as Pakistan's first-ever CDF, Munir declared that India should clearly understand the extent and rapidity of Pakistan's potential response, framing this threat as part of his overarching national security doctrine. Munir's remarks come months after India launched Operation Sindoor on May 7th, targeting terror infrastructure inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir as a direct retaliation for the Pahalgam terror attack, in which 26 civilians were killed. These operations triggered 4 days of intense cross-border clashes that were eventually halted following an understanding to stop military actions on May 10th. Even as he escalated rhetoric against India, Munir claimed that Pakistan remained a peaceful nation, yet simultaneously warned that no one would be allowed to test what he described as Islamabad's territorial integrity or sovereignty. During the ceremony, Munir received a formal guard of honor from contingents representing the Pakistan Army, Pakistan Navy, and Pakistan Air Force. Turning to Pakistan's escalating tensions with Afghanistan, Munir said that Islamabad had delivered what he called a very clear message to the Taliban regime in Kabul, arguing that the Afghan Taliban now had no option but to choose between the banned Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, rebranded by Islamabad last year as Fitna al-Khawarij, and the Pakistani state. Munir emphasized that the newly created Defense Forces headquarters symbolized what he called a historic and fundamental change in Pakistan's defense structure, asserting that growing and evolving threats made it essential to further strengthen multi-domain operations under a unified tri-services system. The event was attended by the Pakistan Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmed Baber Sidhu, the Naval Chief Admiral Naveed Ashraf, and senior officials from all three services. Last week, the Pakistani government formally notified Munir as the first Chief of Defense Forces for a 5-year term, a position he will hold concurrently with the post of Chief of Army Staff, thereby consolidating unprecedented authority across the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Crucially, the CDF role also gives Munir oversight over Pakistan's National Strategic Command, which controls the country's nuclear weapons and missile systems, making him the single most powerful military actor in Pakistan. The CDF office was created following the recently enacted 27th Constitutional Amendment and concurrent changes to the Pakistan Army, Air Force, and Navy Amendment Bills 2025. This latest statement adds to a series of earlier threats issued by Munir, who in October, even as Pakistan was carrying out aerial bombardments on Afghan civilians, intensified nuclear rhetoric by asserting that Islamabad's expanding military capabilities could shatter the misconceived immunity of India's geographical war space. Just days before terrorists killed 26 civilians in Pahalgam, Munir had delivered a provocative speech calling Kashmir Pakistan's jugular vein. In the backdrop of Munir's rise, India has responded sharply to questions on Pakistan's political turmoil, with MEA spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal stating that India closely tracks developments in the neighboring country, but emphasizing pointedly that democracy and Pakistan don't go together, adding that the less said about Pakistan's eroding democratic institutions, the better. This remains a fast-evolving geopolitical story with significant security implications for the region. We will continue to track every development, so ensure you subscribe to the Indian Express for more updates.